everybody, and welcome to this brand new video. In case you haven't seen me in a while, I cut my hair. You might be wondering what we're talking about. You actually aren't, because you clicked on this video well knowing what we're talking about. So we're talking about the one and the only, these are heavy, Alice Oseman. Now, first things first, I'm gonna put these books down because they're super heavy. So, first things first, who is Alice Oseman? Alice Oseman is a British author using she/they pronouns, and they are the author of the Heartstopper series that is also a show on Netflix, in case you have not heard of it. And Alice Oseman is honestly my favorite author in existence. Probably because they're also an aro ace author, so an aromantic asexual. But yeah, today we're gonna go through all of the books that they've written, and I'm gonna talk to you about each and every one of these books, and I'm gonna tell you what I think about these books. And I think the easiest way to get into this is just to start with the Heartstopper series, because that's why you're here, that's why you know Alice Oseman, and that is this. So the Heartstopper series currently consists out of 4 books. Now Alice Oseman does this thing on her website where she puts trigger warnings for like each and every book that they write. I'm just gonna put a few topics right here for the Heartstopper series that I think are the most important ones. If they trigger you, that might not actually be for you. With each of these, they surround, like, they're not only about queer people, but they're like specifically about mental illnesses as well. So each and every character here has like a mental illness and struggles with something in their life. We have Heartstopper, where I think the biggest trigger warning would be eating disorders, which I didn't think I'd relate to as much. I suffered, still to some degree, suffer from an eating disorder. So reading this was hard for me at times. Even watching the show was hard for me at times. It didn't trigger me in such a way. It made me realize that, okay, I'm not alone with these struggles, and that just, it made me feel seen to some degree. Now with the Heartstopper books, I'm just gonna hold up the first one because they're so heavy altogether. These are graphic novels, okay? So they have artwork, they have pretty pictures, and look at Nick and Charlie. Just look at them. In case you have no idea what this is about Nick and Charlie. We have Charlie, Nick right here. And this is just a very, very cute, very, very queer romance between Nick and Charlie, Tara and Darcy, Elle and Tao. Literally so many people in these books, and it's so nice. It has a lot of, like, any representation that you could think of is in here. There is also my absolute favorite character in these books, Tori. Tori is Charlie's older sister. I adore Tori. This is all over the place. I'm like not really telling you what it's about. But I feel like with Heartstopper especially, there is just, like, the series, the Netflix show did these books justice. Like, the cast was so good. The way that they included actual trans people for trans roles was perfect. That's basically everything I have to say about Heartstopper, and I'm obsessed with Heartstopper. I'm just gonna say that, and then I'm gonna put this away. Now, the next book by Alice Oseman that I actually own is the Heartstopper yearbook. This isn't technically a book. Well, it is a book because it's made of paper and it's bound like a book, but it's more of like a guide and like the ideas and what the plans were, and then there's like drawing guides so that you can draw each and every character yourself, and like everybody has like a tiny little page about them, even the dogs, and even some of the characters from like the later books, which I'm gonna focus most on in this video because you probably know Heartstopper, but you might not know the other books in the series. With these books, I'm gonna go in order of publication. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about with you are the Heartstopper Novellas. So we have Nick and Charlie, and we have This Winter. These two were originally published in 2015 as ebooks and then published again as like the paperbacks in 2020. They are essentially additions to the Heartstopper comics. They are actually written, and there are just like some tiny little like comics in between, but they're mostly like in the written form. And we have this winter, which is just like a winter in Charlie's life. And then we have Nick and Charlie. This is essentially a novella after the Heartstopper books, like after the graphic novels, when Nick is going off to college because he's like a year older. Wait, no, you say uni in England. Nick's going off to uni, and Charlie is staying behind because he needs to do like one more year of school because he's younger. So that is their struggle. But that's actually all I can say about these books. This one's a very cute one because there is a chapter out of Charlie's point of view, but then there's also a chapter out of each of his siblings' point of view. So we have one of Tori's view and then Oliver's view, which is the little brother. That doesn't exist in the TV show, I just realized. But technically Charlie is the middle child. Okay, but now I'm gonna go over to the actual books that Alice Oseman wrote. So the first one is Solitaire. Solitaire is, as it says on the cover, not a love story. To be fair, although I would sort of say it's also like, it has love story aspects in it, that's not the main focus of the book of Solitaire. Again, I will be including some trigger warnings here, just because you need them. So with Solitaire, we have a continuation of Tori's story. So Tori is Charlie's sister out of the Heartstopper books, and Solitaire is the book that focuses around her and follows her where she goes to school and she figures out some stuff. There is this mysterious Solitaire that's doing things to the school, making little notes and putting little notes up everywhere and essentially like terrorizing the school, and she is trying to figure out who does that together with Michael Holden. And I listened to this as an audiobook on Audible because I got like the bundle with the 3 books, and this was such a cute story. This was such an inspiring story, and it was very different to anything else I've ever read. And I just remember that I enjoyed this immensely, and I really wanted to know who Solitaire is. I really wanted to know how Tori manages to like get through her life with all the struggles that she has. And it felt very normal and nice to listen to this. And so this mysterious Solitaire person is like a bad Gossip Girl. I mean, Gossip Girl isn't the nicest, but I remember liking this a lot. And then we have the second book by Alice Oseman, which is Radio Silence. Now, Radio Silence is even better than Solitaire in my opinion. This says listen to your own voice, but I would say with this one especially, you would have to say this is not a romance, because it's not a romance book. I don't actually know what this would qualify as, because we have this main character, Frances, who's just like studying all the time, and that's like, it's like her personality. But Frances is also a very good artist, and she does fan art for this podcast that's online, and that is like the Radio Silence podcast with like Universe City. That's really cool. And especially when you listen to the ebook, when you listen to the audiobook, you have the actual parts like read to you in a very special way. You can also listen to all the like Universe City podcast episodes on Alice Oseman's YouTube, so you can look them up there. But Frances then meets Alid, and Alid and Frances become such great friends, and I feel like this friendship between Frances and Alid is the absolute greatest thing. With Alid, we also have a demisexual character, which is also something that you don't see very often. It's just so cute, and then you have like little plot twists, and you have this incredible relationship between the two, and I love this. And my voice is dying now. All right, and then we have another one. We have I Was Born for This. Now, I Was Born for This is essentially evolving around two main characters. We have Angel and we have Jimmy. Now, Angel is a Muslim girl who is a huge fan of the band The Ark. And so she and her best friend, what's her name? Juliet. So she and Juliet decide to go on to like an Ark concert, and she is extremely excited. And then we have the other main character, who is Jimmy, and Jimmy is the one of the three band members of the Ark, and Jimmy is the like first openly transgender pop star of the UK in this case. And you have a lot of struggles with like the main character, and this also changes the way that you see like fandoms and like fame in general, because you see all the ways that Jimmy struggles and how he has extreme panic attacks. And this is essentially the story of Angel and Jimmy sort of becoming friends and managing their way and slowly learning to trust each other through the circumstances that they have and all of the relationships that they go through a little bit. And this is so beautiful. Again, not a love story. Like, even though all of these books are filled with so much platonic love, none of these actually focus mainly on a romantic love story. Now, the book that actually focuses on romantic love is Loveless by Alice Oseman. Loveless is, and I might be biased, one of my absolute favorites. This is a book that follows Georgia through her first year of college. So, wait, it was college. No, it was university. Anyway, so Georgia comes to university and she is just confused, would be the best way to say it. So she goes to university with two of her best friends from her childhood, and she's a little confused because she feels like university is the perfect time to like have your first relationship. And she just doesn't know how to do that really. And so she essentially starts dating the only person that everybody always tells her she's had a crush on, which is her best friend. And she then starts to go on like dates with him until she realizes that that might not actually be what she wants. Until she goes to the first queer meeting, like of the college queer people club. I don't know what it's called anymore. It's been a while, where she is first introduced to the terms of aromanticism and asexuality. And then this is a book revolving around how Georgia manages all her relationships and how she comes to terms with the fact that she might have to remain loveless forever because she's just not interested in having a romantic and sexual relationship with anybody. And that is Loveless, and it is of course my personal favorite, because I don't think I've ever related to a character as much as I've related to Georgia in my life. I mean, I have a Loveless t-shirt. I should have worn my Loveless t-shirt, but it is in the laundry bin. Wait, it's not in the laundry bin! Oh my gosh, look at this. Here it is. Here it is. There's my little baby Georgia and the blonde with the flags. Ah. Georgia is probably one of my favorite Alice Oseman characters, and I hope that in the future they like include all the other books into the Netflix show, because there is so much potential there and they could just do that. Although I think we have sort of a Georgia in the show with Isaac, but having Georgia would also be really cool. Like, maybe if Isaac and Georgia just met and they would just like talk about it and become besties. I would love to see that. Anyway, those were all of the Alice Oseman books. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you like had a good time. I hope that you pick up one of these books. And I think that today I don't need to do a book recommendation of the day, because I'm just gonna recommend you all of them. I'm just gonna recommend you pick up the Alice Oseman collection. You pick up any of the Alice Oseman books. If you haven't read the books yet, pick up the Heartstopper books. They're really fast. Like, you can go through one of these in like 1.5 hours. It's very fast. You can read all of these in a day. Maybe not these. Maybe you might need actually days for each of these. But with the Heartstopper books, you can read them all in a day. It's very, very quick. And then the like 5th book comes out this year as well, like in December, and I'm really excited about that. So in case you want to be up to date with that, you can pick up these books. They're all incredible. And with that, I'm gonna say goodbye to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Pick up a book, have a nice day!